Hello and welcome to the Giraffe Social Media Podcast. It's what social media managers are talking about. I'm Laura and today I'm joined by some amazing members of the Giraffe team. We've got Senior Social Media Manager Dom.
Hello.
Social Media Manager Tyler.
Hello.
And Social Media Assistant Chloe.
Hi.
So as always in our coffee break episodes, we all bring a topic to the table that we want to have a chat about and get each other's thoughts on over a cuppa, of course. But to get us started, I've got a question for you all. And my question is, what's the best piece of advice that you've ever been given? Like work-related or personal-related, anything. Just best piece of advice, starting with you, Chloe.
Ooh, I love this question. I like to think back on all the, the good quotes and things I've seen in my time. But I think I kind of round up three and they all had a very similar message, which was don't listen to criticism from someone you wouldn't take advice from. Or like people who you're never going to be criticized by people doing more than you. So I don't know, that makes me seem like really up myself, but I just really like those kind of like self-empowering ones that's like you don't need to listen to what other people say, like you do you, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
I like that.
Love that.
Love
Good.
that. Definitely.
Really like that. What about you, Tyler?
So we used to do a thing where my mum would sit around the dinner table and every night she would share some sort of life lesson or piece of advice. And the one piece of advice that she has kind of like always like drilled into me was reason, season, lifetime. And it's literally just three simple words, but it's about the fact that like people will come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime, or something will happen in your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. So that's probably the one that stuck with me the most out of everything that she has ever told me, is just that everything happens for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. So yeah.
I vibe with that major.
Yeah.
I'm a believer in everything happens for a reason.
Oh, 100%,
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Me too. Yeah, what about you, Dom? Is that you? Is that the best advice?
No, it's good advice, but no. Yeah, so mine's a quote that I saw a while ago, and I just really liked it. And it said, "Don't get too busy making a living that you forget to work on making a life." And I think that's just like so true. Like you can get so busy in work and everyday life that you just sometimes can neglect the people around you, and that could be loved ones, families, friends. So it's crucial to make sure that you have time and make time for those loved ones around you, because one day it's all over, so and they're not there. So yeah, make sure that you spend a lot of time for them.
Yeah, no, definitely. I love that. I always remember this is probably the best piece of advice I've given, but it's not the one I'm going to talk about in a sec. But my dad always says, like, you have to work to live, not live to work. Even though I don't really think he follows that advice himself very well. Like, I do think it's very, very true. Like, we're only here for a short amount of time, so got to make the most of it. But I actually think one of the best pieces of advice that I was given was quite recently from Phil, managing director Phil. He needed to give me a pep talk, and he said that words to the effect of like, don't get too caught up on the lows, but also don't get too caught up on the highs. So sort of like recognizing that like negative things are going to happen, but like don't get too caught up on them because things can get better, but also like don't get too caught up when things are good because they might fall again, but that's okay. So I think that's like sort of something that's really stuck with me as well. So I think it's really true, like sometimes we can get really caught up on things when they're going really badly or when things are going really well, so it's just sort of about finding that level ground. So yeah, amazing. So as some of you may be aware, April is Stress Awareness Month, and in light of this we're going to be chatting about all things stress and social media management. as social media managers, we're pretty good at managing a lot of things, but maybe stress isn't one of those. And stress can get the better of us. With lots going on all at the same time, it can be challenging to manage stress levels. So we want to share with you our top tips for managing stress whilst managing social media. So Dom, I don't know if you have sort of, I guess, your 3 top tips for managing stress as a senior social media manager.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, 3. So I guess my first one would be, and something that I have done in the past and what I tend to do now and again, actually, to be fair, is I just anticipate that something bad's going to happen. Like in the morning, first thing I wake up, I just overthink and worry that something is going to happen during the day that is going to affect work, like whatever it is. And obviously that's not good for your mental health whatsoever. And the ways that I think it's important to start your day is try to create a positive mindset. And ways you can do that is actually do things that you enjoy doing. So whether that's you wake up and you do a workout, you wake up and listen to music, you read a book, something positive that you actually enjoy doing, and to get a positive mindset, not overthink about work or anything like that. Don't even put that in your mind. Avoid looking through your phone and just endlessly scrolling through Instagram and TikTok. Just start your day off the right way and try to create that positive mindset. So that's number 1. Number 2, I would say, is especially if you receive something negative, so whether that's a negative email, negative feedback, anything like that, try not to become too reactionary. It's very easy to be like, when it first comes through, you straight away will react to it, and like you just build that stress and anxiety straight away. What I like to do is just take a minute, go, make a coffee, 5 minutes, listen to some music, do something to take my mind off. And then once I've like refreshed my mind, then come back to it. And then at the end of the day, you end up looking at it from a new perspective, fresh mindset. And what you tend to find is that issue that you thought was an issue actually wasn't as bad as what you first initially thought it was. So try not to be too reactionary to certain situations. Always take a little minute to take a break and refresh your mind. And finally, I would say 100% get enough sleep. Especially in the industry that we're in, social media, at times we need to be creative. And in order to be creative, we need to have the juices flowing in our minds, no fatigue, try not to be too tired. All that can affect you massively as working as a social media manager, and it can affect your overall work performance, your overall mental health, the way you work with team members, the way you members. Sleep is vital for your working day.
Yeah,
Amen.
no, really.
Definitely.
Amen to that. No, completely agree. And I actually found recently I've been really trying to have the whole like not being too reactionary. What did you say it was, Dom?
Reactive, I think the word.
Reactive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're making up words, but we love it.
Same thing.
Same. Reactive. And I've really noticed my response when something first happens and how much it differs from my response when I've taken time away from the situation. Like my response when something first happens, let's say you get a negative email or I don't know, just something crops up and your initial reaction is oh, this is the end of the world, and then you go, like you say, go and make a coffee or have 5 minutes out, and then you just gives you chance to sort of actually think about it and think, you know what, this isn't the end of the world, I can deal with this, I can deal with anything life throws at me. So really, really great points. Thank you for sharing those, Dom. Tyler, do you have 3 top tips to share?
Yes. So I'd probably say my first one would be definitely to just set boundaries and time frames throughout your day. I know, especially with working from home and sitting in front of your computer all day, the time can just fly away from you. And I found that one thing that I find quite important in my day is to make sure that I set time frames for things and ensure that I stick to those time frames. So if I'm going to be working from 9:30 till 5:30, then I stick to working from 9:30 till 5:30. I don't go over that, just because you can get so sucked into things and you can get so, stuck on one simple task or one deadline that you don't take the time for yourself out of that, and then your work day kind of just eats away at your entire day. So I'd probably say, as the first kind of top tip in managing stress, is to just make sure that you, set time frames and boundaries for your day. I'd probably say my second one would be just to take breaks and making sure that you take breaks, stepping away from your computer when you need to, and just, making sure that you take 5 minutes out of your day to have a coffee or chat to a friend or a family member, or just, making sure that your work doesn't overshadow. So for my third tip, I would probably say that you make sure you unplug and take time for yourself at the end of the day, especially because, like Dom mentioned, like, we work on social media throughout the entirety of our day, and we're constantly on, our phones, on our computers, and, it's important to just take some time away from a digital space for a bit. Enjoy some time with your family, watch your favorite series, have a bubble bath, even just something that you enjoy doing, just away from your phone and away from social media and like the digital world that we all live in so much. So I would probably say, just in general, just unplug a bit and just enjoy some time to yourself and doing things that you enjoy doing.
100%, because especially like when everyone's working, well, most people, especially in our industry, are working from home at the moment. So it's hard to separate, going from your bedroom to your office, and your office might even be in your bedroom at times. So it's hard to separate your work life and then, your downtime sort of balance. So it's so important to make sure that you stick to like time, like you said at the beginning, manage your time. Don't overdo it. Don't overwork yourself, because you're going to end up just burning out. And you need that downtime. So definitely stick to that. So that's good advice.
Yeah, no, definitely. I remember when we first started working from home, I was like terrible for taking breaks, because I just thought, just get it done, and it's the end of the day. And actually, like, I found I wasn't as productive. And now I find like actually sticking to a break each day, or even like several like smaller breaks, actually really helps me be more productive, because I've taken that time out and come back to it, can get things done. So love that advice. Thank you, Tyler. What about you, Chloe? What are your 3 top tips?
Yeah, I think mine kind of follow on quite nicely. I think my number 1 tip would definitely be, I am like a massive organization person. Like, everything for the month is planned ahead. That's just the way I personally like to work. So I kind of like to do that with my days as well. So for example, I know that doing smaller tasks at the end of the day kind of stresses me out, because I just want to be like done. And so sometimes like I won't do them to my best ability. Sometimes I won't do them at all. I'm like, I'll do it tomorrow. But I think starting the day with small tasks that you're like gonna hate doing in the afternoon. So things like community management, I will do first thing, because it can be tedious and it can kind of be a little bit draining. So I'm like, I'll do that first thing when I have the motivation to do it, and then like I don't have to look at it again. And I find that the days where I don't do that and I'm about to log off and I'm like, oh no, like I haven't done the interactions for this client, like I'm just like kicking myself. So then I like to kind of, I know that I'm probably more creative around lunchtime when I've just eaten. So then I'll like do my schedules then, because I'm in a good mood. I'm on that high from just having food. And then I like to kind of end the day on a bit of a softer note. So I might, reply to emails, because that's a bit more relaxing, pop some music on, or maybe I'll film some TikToks because that's a bit more fun, and I like to finish the day on a high note, that kind of thing. So I find that really managing my day, like knowing myself and what's gonna like keep me going as opposed to what's gonna drain me, I love to do that. My second tip, I definitely think working from like a clean and aesthetic workplace, and this is me again, organization freak, I can't function if I'm in like a messy space. It just like adds to the stress. So I like to just like put some time in to make sure that, you know, we are working from home from the moment, or even if you are working from the office, like make that your space, because if you feel like you're working, you know, from somewhere that you're not comfortable in, that tends to kind of add to the stress. And, you know, if you've got mess around you, like food or rubbish, like that's obviously going to translate into the mess in your mind. So yeah, definitely work from a clean space. Yeah. I love that metaphor.
I like that, yeah.
And my third and final tip, I think, like, obviously we're social media managers, but maybe sometimes we forget that social media at its core is just fun. Like it's not meant to be taken seriously. So I think, you know, we're constantly trying to come up with fresh and new ideas for our clients, and, you know, a new meme comes out and we're like, oh my gosh, like how can we incorporate this meme into like schedules and things? Like just like stop trying to keep up with things. Like we know, right, as social media managers, we know another trend is just around the corner. A meme is like a single snapshot away. So I think if we take time to just sit one out every now and again, that's completely fine. Like we're not going to see really any major damage, you know, apart from burning ourselves out if we do try and keep on top of things. So I guess that kind of falls into what we were saying at the beginning of the episode, like work to live, not live to work. Like at the end of the day, I think it's important to remember that, hey, this is just a job. Like, it's not that deep. Do you know what I mean? Like, maybe my managers will hate me for saying that, but I think you just need to kind of keep that in the back of your mind, that social media is meant to be fun. Your job is not supposed to, like, make you feel the worst. So I always like to just keep that at the forefront of my mind in everything that I do. So yeah, that was a bit of a ramble, but those are my top 3 tips.
No, I love them. So when you say about the sort of like getting sort of your worst tasks, if you like, done at the start of the day. So I read an article recently and it was titled something along the lines of like, eat the frog first thing in the mornings, something strange like that. The whole thing was around like eating the frog, and that its premise is basically saying sort of similar to what you said, Chloe. It's like, get the thing that you don't want to do most out of the way first thing, and then you don't have to think about it. And then it's sort of like your day can only get better from there. Like once you've eaten that frog, which please don't do, your day can only get better. So really love that advice. Thank you. So my 3 top tips are, so at the start of each day, I like to write a to-do list. I'm a huge like list person, live for lists. You should see the notes on my phone, like, you know, the notes app. Literally just list after list after list. It's crazy. But yeah, I start by writing a to-do list down of everything sort of I think I need to get done that day. And then what I tend to do is get 3 different coloured highlighters, and in one colour I highlight all the tasks that are absolutely critical I get done that day. So for example, there might be like a client call, I need to have that client call, or there's a schedule due and I need to get that done. So I highlight all of those tasks in one colour, and then I take a different colour and I highlight the less immediate tasks that, if I needed to, could be pushed back to the next day or, you know, later that week. So anything that's sort of less critical. And then with the last colour, I highlight any sort of tasks that aren't timely, that don't necessarily have a deadline, that again can be pushed back. So anything's like personal admin or any kind of admin-y bits that aren't sort of like really critical, that they get done by a particular time. And I find, so I'm quite like a visual learner anyway, so I find that really sort of helps me to departmentalise like all of my tasks and what's sort of necessary that I get done and what can be pushed back. So again, it sort of breaks that list up. So I'm not like, whoa, I've got all these things to do today, because it's like, although, yeah, that's all on my to-do list, not all of them I need to do today, kind of thing. So love doing that. Another tip, which is something I've sort of had to, or am teaching myself, is to like remove like emotional attachment to like data and results. We see a huge part of our role is like analysing data and, you know, pinpointing pieces of data and nitpicking at things and all of this. And obviously I know we always want what's best for our clients. We want to do really well, or for a brand that we work for. Like, I think it's really important that we sort of remove that emotional attachment and sort of rather think like, oh, what can I learn from this data and how can I improve, like how can I improve this? Just sort of like breaking it down rather than thinking, oh, this is terrible, this is really bad, like my client's gonna hate me, and all of this. Just sort of think, just remove that emotional attachment, like entirely if you can. I know it's always easier said than done, but I think honestly you'll benefit from it in the long run, and I think your results will benefit from it in the long run as well. So my last piece of advice is to listen to music or, of course, podcast in the background whilst doing work. Like for me particular, this sort of limits the amount that I overthink, because I've sort of got that like slight distraction. So like when I see an email come in, I don't automatically think, oh no, like what's this email going to be, because I've sort of, my mind's sort of preoccupied, not in a way that I'm not concentrating, but it just sort of gives me that slight distraction, and in between doing tasks, again, limits me from overthinking and getting overwhelmed. So yeah, I think we have covered.
What do you listen to?
Good question. I'm such a... I think I was asked this fairly recently, and I was like, do you know what? I don't actually know what I listen to. Like, honestly, it's such a mixed bag of music. Sometimes I end up just putting the radio on. Otherwise, I find myself, like, flicking through shuffle, like, waiting for a particular song to come on. So I'm like, I'll just put the radio on, then I can't choose. But yeah, honestly, anything and everything. Such a mixed bag.
I love listening to, like, rap and, like, get me hyped up. Like... feeling like a baddie, just like getting my life done.
I always think my music probably changes over the week. So like Monday, Tuesday, like slower songs because it's like start of the week. The Wednesday, Thursday, we're just notching it up just a little bit because we getting hyped, and then Friday, wow,
dropping bangers.
If you have even Radio 1 on a Friday, I mean, you're ready for 5:30 to drop before that drink.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
I'm literally the same. Like it depends. Like one day I might need some hyping up, or other days I'll just have something nice and relaxing in the background. Some nice, sweet, soulful R&B. I like to mix it up. I can't listen to Capital though, because you just end up hearing the same songs, and it just drives me crazy. That's just my opinion on Capital.
I hate that. The worst thing is when you're on like a long drive. So I've had it before where I've like gone on a long drive, had Capital on, like done what I needed to do, got back in the car to drive back home, and it's literally the exact same songs playing.
Oh no.
So they honestly must repeat them like several times during the day. No hate Capital, but cool. Thank you so much, guys, for sharing your top tips. But now it's time for feeds to follow, the bonus segment at the end of each coffee break episode where we all recommend a feed we think you should be following. Now, if you don't mind, I'm going to go first because my recommended feed to follow this week is an Instagram handle called its handle is Work and Social, they said. And honestly, there's just the most relatable memes for social media managers you'll ever see. Like honestly, sometimes I'll be scrolling, I forget I follow this account, and I'm like, wow, who's relating to me like that I follow? And then I realise it's the account, it's not just like one of my friends. But yeah, if you haven't already, check it out because you're guaranteed to be humoured. Chloe, what about you?
Yeah, mine's like kind of similar to yours. It's an account on Instagram called Saint Hoax, which whether or not you follow them, you definitely would have seen their content because it goes viral every time like they post. But basically they just post memes around pop culture events, but like whoever runs it is like a very creative person, good with like graphics and stuff. It's just such a good account. Like I think they posted a video recently when the Montero Call Me By Your Name song came out by Lil Nas X, and they like posted a it was like a clip of the Queen and Prince Charles watching like something on television and like talking to each other about it, but they like edited the music video on top of the screen, so it was like them like laughing at. Anyway, it's just really funny, and I recommend giving it a follow for every and any pop culture events that happens. They comment on it, and it's always a great time.
Love that.
Sounds cool. I'll have to check that out. Tyler, what about you?
So my feed to follow for this week is an Instagram page called Truly 20s, and they basically just post content about being in your 20s and like advice on how to make it through your 20s. And I mean, I'm only 22, and honestly, the page feels like an absolute lifesaver for me at the moment. Because it's honestly, the advice that they share on there, and like they connect with a lot of other accounts who are also like just relating to like what it's like to be in your 20s and all of that kind of thing. So definitely a recommended feed to follow, 100%.
Love
I'm gonna
that.
follow
Anything
that right now.
Yeah, anything that gives me life advice. I need.
100%, definitely.
There's nothing better than taking life advice from strangers on the internet. Like,
Honestly. Dom, what about you? What's your recommended feed to follow?
Yeah, mine's another Instagram. Well, I mean, he's on TikTok and stuff as well. But Eric Thomas, username ET, the hip hop preacher. Basically, just like a motivator. Like, if you want to be motivated, listen to his videos because he will pump you up and he will motivate you. He will get you going.
I can already see you listening to these videos, Dom. Like,
Yeah.
in my head, I see it.
Yeah. One of his favorite famous quotes is, "When you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful." So, I mean,
That's
Wow.
hardcore.
That is
Yeah.
pretty deep.
it's deep and
I'm
it's
happy
good.
being me to prove that's what it takes.
Amazing. Thank you, guys. Well, that's all we've got time for today. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss our next episode. You can also connect with us on all major social channels. What are your top tips for managing stress? We'd love to know. We've been Giraffe Social Media. You've been amazing.